Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Time out. Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Padavajikacharya Ashtotar to the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Padavajikacharya Ashtotar to the Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Thank you. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vasudeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta Praresha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 24th day of March, 2025 in San Diego, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in the 8th canto, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations, 5th chapter, The Demigods Appeal to the Lord for Protection, Text number 29. Ya ekavarnam tamasah parang tad alokam avyaktam ananta param asam chakaro pasupurnam enam upasate yoga ratena dira ya ekavarnam tamasak parang tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asam chakaro pasuparnamenam upasate yoga ratena diraha ya ekavarnam tamasak parang tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asam chakaro pasuparnamenam upasate yoga ratena dhiraha ya ekavarnam tamasak parang tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asam chakaro pasuparnamenam upasate yoga ratena dhiraha ya ekavarnam tamasak parang tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asam chakaro pasuparnamenam upasate yoga ratena dhiraha. Governor, you want to try? Okay, go ahead. Ya ekavarnam tamasak parang tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asam chakaro pasuparnamenam upasate yoga ratena dhiraha ya ekavarnam tamasak parang tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asam chakaro pasuparnamenam upasate yoga ratena dhiraha. No? Anyone online?
Ya ekavarnam tamasa param tad
Ya ekavarnam tamasak parang tad
alokam avyaktam ananta param
alokam avyaktam anantaparam
asam chakaro pasuparnamenam
asam chakaro pasuparnamenam
upasate yogaratena dhiraha
upasate yoga ratena dhiraha. Okay.
Ya ekavarnam tamasha param tad alokam avyaktam anantaparam asam chakaro pasuparnam enam
Asam chakaro pasuparnamenam
upasate yoga rathena dhira
upasate yoga ratena dhiraha. Yaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who? Ekavarnam, absolute, situated in pure goodness. Tamasaha, to the darkness of the material world. Param, transcendental. Tat, that. Alokam, who cannot be seen. Avyaktam, not manifested. Anantaparam, unlimited, beyond the measurement of material time and space. Asamchakara, situated. Upasuparnam, on the back of Garuda. Enam, him. Upasate, worship. Yoga Ratena, by the vehicle of mystic yoga. Dhiraha, persons who are sober, undisturbed by material agitation. Okay. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, and therefore he is Ekavarna, the Omkar, Pranava. Ekavarna means one syllable. Because the Lord is beyond the cosmic manifestation, because the Lord is beyond the cosmic manifestation, which is considered to be darkness, he is not visible to material eyes. Nonetheless, he is not separated from us by time or space, but is present everywhere. Seated on his carrier, Garuda, he is worshipped by means of mystical yogic power by those who have achieved freedom from agitation. Let us all offer our respectful obeisances unto him. Purport. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam, Bhagavatam 4.3.23. In this material world, the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, prevail. Among these three, goodness is the platform of knowledge, and passion brings about a mixture of knowledge and ignorance. But the mode of ignorance is full of darkness. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is beyond darkness and passion. He is on the platform where goodness or knowledge is not disturbed by passion and ignorance. This is called the Vasudeva platform. It is on this platform of Vasudeva that Vasudeva or Krishna can appear. Thus Krishna appeared on this planet as the son of Vasudeva. Because the Lord is situated beyond the three modes of material nature, he is unseen by those who are dominated by these three modes. One must therefore become dhira, or undisturbed by the modes of material nature. The process of yoga may be practiced by one who is free from the agitation of these modes. Therefore, yoga is defined in this way: yoga indriya samyama. As previously explained, we are disturbed by the indriyas or senses. Moreover, we are agitated by the three modes of material nature, which are imposed upon us by the external energy. In conditional life, the living entity moves turbulently in the whirlpool of birth and death. But when one is situated on the transcendental platform of Vishuddha Sattva, pure goodness, he can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead who sits on the back of Garuda. Lord Brahma offers his respectful obeisances unto that Supreme Lord. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So Brahma is continuing his glorification of and obeisances to the Supreme Lord. And you notice that all the verses have that Namo Namo. Well, this one doesn't have it, but Prabhupada put it in the translation. Okay. Anyway, let's go through here. So he's situated in pure goodness, this Shuddha Sattva state. Now this is a state that we should aspire to come to. The process of Krishna consciousness is meant to bring us out of the modes of passion and ignorance and situate us in the mode of goodness. And finally, by further purification, we get to the mode of pure goodness. And in that state, that's the Vasudeva state, Krishna becomes manifest to us. We can see him both within and without. So the whole process is one of purification. Cheto Darpana Marjanam is famously said. And that verse by Lord Chaitanya spoke to Sanatana Goswami. Krishna Bhakti, what does it say? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunoi Shobhanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udoy. So this eternal perfection of Krishna, love for Krishna is situated in the heart Every one of us. It does. Sadhya kabanoin. Now it's interesting that the word sadhya has the other meaning. It may have other meanings, but it has the most famous meaning that the result of sadhana is sadhya. So if we're on the practice and we actually achieve the goal, then we get the sadhya, which is the goal. And that's why I think Lord Chaitanya, when he was speaking with Ramananda Roy, he was interested in what is sadhya and what is sadhana. He was asking him the basic question. But in this case, sadhya simply means something that needs to be attained, that you don't have yet, and you can practice in order to get it, But it's not like that. Sadhya kabunoi. Noi means not. So this pure Krishna prema is not something external to us. It's already there. It's just been buried for millions of births because we've been in the modes of nature. We've been covered, and the consciousness has been contaminated with so many material desires and results of sinful activities and all these things, modes of nature. So Krishna is known as Vasudeva, and that means that he's the son of Vasudeva, but it also means that he appears when you're in the Vasudeva state, which is the stage of Shuddha Sattva. So this idea that the whole process is simply one of purification is that we already have the pure Krishna prema within our heart, but it's been covered and buried for so many years because we've been going from birth to birth and oftentimes subhuman birth. In some, the animals are all in the mode of ignorance, more or less, So this is once again to try to understand the great value of the human form of life, and to be really serious to use it every second. That's the avyarta kalatvam. That's one of the 26 qualities of a devotee. Doesn't waste time, because you never know when that death will come, or some accident or some disease that'll impinge your consciousness. It can, if you fall down or you get some concussion or something, it can affect your mind so that you can't really be in control. So as long as we have our facilities about us, we should try as hard as possible for purification. And that's one of the processes of surrender. If you think about it, what is it? Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshasatiti vishwaso gopdadevanam tata atmanikshepa karpani shadanagati. What is it? Shadvidi shadanagati, something like that. So these 6 limbs, and it's interesting the order that they're in. First, accepting what is favorable. You see? Now in the Ashtanga Yoga, the first step is yama, giving up what is unfavorable. You see? So this is more positive in it. If you accept what is favorable, even though you may have some unfavorable things going on, you become stronger in order to give those up. You see? In other words, you begin chanting. You may be performing all 4 sinful activities, but nevertheless you chant. Now you're not going to go very far if you keep doing those sinful activities. But if once you learn that these are impeding you, and you learn you have to give them up, then that chanting that you're doing will give you the strength to do it. And what's that strength? Attraction to Krishna. The more you can be attracted to Krishna, the easier it is to give up all these other attractions that are not even attractive anymore. I like to tell the story how I remember when McDonald's opened. You remember I was in a little bowling league. We'd go on Saturday night. And suddenly there's this McDonald's opened up just, a block away from the bowling alley. So naturally, we all went there for a snack before we went bowling, And, I didn't become obsessed with it, but that was something, that I liked to do. We just take the cheeseburger and the whole thing, But then when I started to get interested in, I was fortunate, I got interested in yoga, and I also became a vegetarian at that time, So I was a vegetarian at least for a year and a half before I even heard about Hare Krishna. But the point is that helps so much. That one helps the other. If you start chanting, you start reading, and you're associating with devotees, then you get the impetus, these things that I'm attached to, these are real impediments. And so in your chanting, you can even be praying, let me give this bad habit up, please give me the strength to do it, And you can get it. That's one of the things that the result of the purification of the chanting. You get the willpower to be determined. And that's we were discussing last night, that verse, Brahmande Brahmate Kom Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Bhakti Lata Bij. So when that seed is planted by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, the seed of bhakti, what does that seed really consist of? And Prabhupada says in the purport, there's wonderful instructions to Rupa Goswami, how it consists of, the gifts, the holy name, the knowledge, and the desire to be Krishna conscious. All of those are part of that seed that has to be watered by Shavanadi Jal, hearing and chanting, etc. The main thing is to chant and hear, associate. But Adi also means, prasadam, deity worship. With deity worship comes the prasadam, right? And if you're living at home, to clean up your diet and cook those things that are offerable to Krishna, and all of the processes that follow in this train of becoming interested in learning about Krishna consciousness, they help one to have the strength to give up those things. The anukulya sankalpa, pratikulya savarjanam. That's the second one. So you accept favorable things, you're associating, you're reading, you're chanting. And then you realize, yeah, but I'm also doing this, I'm living outside, so. And you think, this is not good. You realize that. And you want to give it up. Rather than you feel, now that work is over, let's go to the bar. You want to take part in the sinful activities. So your whole focus changes. And that's part of surrender. Anukuli sankalpa, pratikuli savarjanam. Accepting the favorable, giving up the unfavorable. Rakshishititi vishaso. Being confident that Krishna will protect. Now that's part of the prayers here. Right? Why do they go to Brahma? Why do they want to pray to Krishna? Why do they go to the shore of the ocean of milk? Because they're confident that if they can please the Lord and get his attention, that he'll protect them from the danger from the demigods. So this is Rakshishititi, being confident that Krishna will protect in dangerous situations. And then Goptrit Vevadanantata means confident he will maintain also. Because what does material life mean? It means, without Krishna, hard struggle for existence. Getting enough to eat, getting safety, a home, all of these different things that you have to live. And now there's a big crisis in America simply because of everything's getting so expensive. Inflation, people can't get the necessities. And it's trouble, in people's minds. They can't be peaceful because they might not be able to make the rent this month or whatever, pay the mortgage, pay the car payments, So that's the hard struggle for existence. But you can see how these two kind of address that. Rakshasatiti vishvasa gopta devadanantata. Rakshasati means the protection. Now most people, it's a dangerous world. So what can we do to counteract it? Oh, okay, insurance. Right? Insurance is built on fear. The whole thing is fear. Now, I'm a little familiar with Florida because I used to visit there for 20 years. I would go twice a year actually and visit my friend Indra. So it's a highly, even more than, San Diego is also a highly coveted place to live, obviously. But all of Florida, the weather, the real estate is always a booming business. Always was till recently. But now with the advent of the climate change and more vicious and more powerful storms, the latest hurricanes, you can't get insurance. The insurance companies, they're always in it to make money. So it's such a risk that you'll have to pay for 100 homes that were destroyed, that they go out of business. So you can't. It's much more expensive, or you can't even get insurance. Health insurance. So it's constant anxiety. Material life is one worry after another. And if somehow you can come to a small place, you go on vacation, you get away from it all, finally we can stop thinking about all the things that are worrying us, But Krishna consciousness, if you can see those two things, Rakshasatiti Gopta Devadanantata, just like the great example is the Brajvasis when Krishna was present. They had full faith in him, and when all these dangers would come, I'm just reading Krishna book again for, umpteenth time, and there was at least 2 forest fires that he swallowed, right? There's one famously after the Kaliya pastime. So you can see it. What are these Krishna Lila? You know, Krishna is a great maestro or director. He's arranging it to heighten the emotions, to intensify the ecstatic emotions in relation to him. And sometimes it's fear. You know, he's taken by Kaliya, and he waits for 2 hours, according to Prabhupada in the Krishna book. You know, before he breaks out of that grip, he's enwrapped in these coils. It's a monstrous, multi-hooded python, or not a python. It looks like I think it was a cobra. But anyway, so what's going on there? I mean, you know, they love Krishna so much, and everything was going okay, and suddenly this great danger is there, not to themselves even, but to Krishna. And they're just going, except for Balaram. He knew there was no danger. But his mother, she was just fainting. She said, you know, it looks like he's a goner for sure, you know. So he doesn't just break out. He waits until to screw up the anxiety to the ultimate, you know, pitch. And then he breaks out, you know. Oh, thank God. And then, you know, he doesn't break out. He starts dancing, and then the music comes from the Gandharvas and the flowers are falling, you know. So that's, you know, Krishna's, he's a great impresario. I learned that word when my parents used to take me into the city for Carnegie Hall for some performance. The one who's in charge of arranging everything, you know, and conducting, you know. So, now this was interesting, Eka Varna, this is the Omkar. Now, I remember reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because Omkar, you know, if you do any yoga, you're going to meet with Omkar, right? If there's any kind of meditation, you know, Om, you know. Okay, that's fine. So Om is non-different from Krishna. He says right in the Bhagavad Gita, Pranavak Sarva Vedatam, I am, this is one of the things in the 10th chapter, I think he says, I am that. So, but then we get this Gaudiya Vaishnava interpretation of Om. If you read I forget exactly where it is in the Adi Lila, quoting Jiva Goswami. Om is made of three sounds, A-U-M, Om, if you look at it. So the A is Krishna, the U is Radha, and the M is the living entity. You know, this is the way you can think of Om. Om. But in general, it's here it said that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in sound vibration. Of course, Prabhupada always said the Om is included in Hare Krishna mantra. He famously said that. And the holy name is not different. But here he's making that point because Ekavarna, that is Krishna. And also he's situated in pure goodness. He's beyond the cosmic manifestation, which is considered to be in darkness. He's not visible to materialize. So this being unmanifest. Now, when you think about it, Krishna conscious process is making the unmanifest manifest, or invoking, you see, beginning with the Hare Krishna mantra. That's the sound anyone can hear, and it's not different from Krishna. But the deity, so important. Deity worship is so important in the development of Krishna consciousness, from, you know, especially for the neophytes. But this is Krishna's mercy. He comes in the form of Radha and Giridhari and the other deities that we have, the shalagrams, because with our material eyes and ears, we cannot see the spirit at this point because we've covered over. So Krishna makes himself visible to our ordinary eyes. But we should know when we hear from the Shastra, from the Guru, that this is not a statue. It's not an idol. You know, Krishna is really there. He's there. He's agreed to be visible through this form, so we can see him and serve him, whether it's wood or stone or marble, whatever it may be. And that's a very important consciousness to maintain, that Krishna is actually here. That's why, you know, oh, it's so cold. I remember before we had this heat thing, in the winter it got pretty cold, and we had heaters. And when it got hot in the summer, I bought a couple of fans. I was able to raise some money, and we had the fans going on there, because Krishna's going to get too cold, get too hot. So that feeling, that sense, you know, and all of the cooking, you know, the offering of food, that he actually eats it, you know, by glancing at it, he can do that. That's essential. So he's not visible to materialize, but for the devotee, he'll appear so that he can see him and serve him in some form. And of course, most accessible is the sound. Anywhere, anytime, we can invoke Krishna's presence by chanting his holy name. And also all of these beautiful prayers and things, this is also mantras that we can chant. Prabhupada has said every verse in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Bhagavatam is a mantra, which means we can chant it again and again. So then he says, nonetheless, although he's not visible, he's not separated from us, but is present everywhere. Seated on his carrier Garuda, he's worshipped by means of mystical yogic power by those who have achieved freedom from agitation. So this idea of being sober, I've just been working on the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, trying to finalize whatever revisions have been made, because they're actually going to make an upgrade of the Veda base. I don't know if you know that. You used to do it every year, but it's been over 5 years now, since 2019, that they had the last one, and who knows if they're going to do another one, because everyone's getting older. Everyone there is as old as I am. But anyway, so they're going to do that, and we want to try to finalize it, whatever revisions have been approved. So I was just going through, and there was one thing. How's it go? Oh yes, the translation to the famous verse. Many of you may know this verse. It's often the first verse that devotees memorize from the Bhagavad Gita. So those who know it could chant with me. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhiras tattanamuyati. Now the translation originally said, a self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. That was not what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada, he typed this out. The second chapter he typed, didn't dictate it. They didn't have that yet. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Now, if it had stayed the self-realized soul, this is what I thought, and I bet everybody thought that, because it talks about, what is it? The embodied soul passes from boyhood to youth to old age. Similarly, the soul attains another body after death. A self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Well, I thought that self-realized soul is the soul who's leaving the body and getting another body. I think everybody did. But that's not what Prabhupada said. He said a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. That sober person is meant to be Arjuna. The whole idea is that he's afraid of killing his grandfather and teacher and so many others. Krishna isn't saying, well, be sober. What is sober? Doesn't mean not drunk. It means that you're, as Prabhupada explains here, that sober person is self-controlled, and he's dhira. This is the dhira. Dhira, very important word. Undisturbed by the modes of material nature. You see, that's what dhira. So, that dhira platform is so important to come to. To not be disturbed by the modes of material nature, to be fixed in goodness and aspiring for pure goodness. That's the whole idea of the ashram. You're regulated, you're clean, right? You cultivate the mode of goodness, eating in the mode of goodness, hearing everything in the mode of goodness, pure goodness. And that's ultimately to come to the mode of pure goodness is once again the Vasudeva platform. That Vasudeva platform. So Krishna appears there. The more clean our consciousness is, the more it's been purified by hearing and chanting, etc., the more that we'll perceive Krishna in all the ways that have been given to us. Just like Prabhupada, when he saw these paintings, he was so eager for the artist to get, he was so happy with the first artist, Jadharani, joined Judy. She was pretty good to start with, and she got much better. But all the artists probably would see this as windows to the spiritual world. He would actually see the pastime, he would feel the presence of Lord Chaitanya and everything in it. For us it's inspiring, but you can imagine if you actually can enter into it and experience there what's going on. So that's a result of this pure consciousness of being in the Vasudeva platform. And the pure devotees, that's they're purified. And what do we learn? That's prerequisite. You got to surrender to Krishna in order to conquer over the modes, right? What is that verse? We all know it. Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya dorotya mamevaye papadyante mayame tangtarantite. That this material world composed of the material nature is my maya, It belongs, I'm in control of it. Daivesha gunamayi, mamaya, mamevi epapadyante. One who surrenders unto me can cross beyond it. Means those who don't surrender cannot cross beyond it. They're always bound by the different modes. Even the mode of goodness is binding, material mode of goodness. You're attracted to happiness is, in the mode, we'll go to the forest and we'll walk around, we'll go hear a concert, not a rock concert, we'll go hear, classic music. It's more or less in the mode of goodness, though it's hard to be in goodness in this world. But that's not good enough. Because as we learn from Bhagavad Gita, then in the material mode of goodness, it can be overcome by the mode of passion and ignorance, right? There's a battle going on, So, but Krishna will help us to transcend if we surrender. Okay. Yeah, where goodness is not disturbed by passion and ignorance. That's pure goodness. He is on that platform. That's for Shuddha Sattva, Vasudeva platform. And therefore his name is for the son of Vasudeva. And this, aspiring to become Dhira, beyond, not disturbed, undisturbed by the modes of material nature. That's important to train ourselves, act in such a way that we're not going to allow the lower modes of nature to affect us. Okay. All right, we're almost at 8:30. Is any question or discussion on these points? This wonderful prayer of Brahma and the purport? Go ahead, Prabhu.
I had this question that I was thinking about for some time. So when we become devotees, we know that we have to be engaged, organizing Harinams, book distribution, so many activities. And obviously we don't start from a Shuddha Sattva platform, we start from the mode of passion. Mm-hmm. So in this way, this is the mode of passion means longings, endeavors, intense endeavor. So, but when you consciousness and when you transform, you advance in spiritual life, you influenced by the mode of goodness and then pure goodness. And so it doesn't make sense to me, how can you act so in such endeavor if you're influenced by higher modes? How can you maintain the same level of aspirations, activities? How can you be as active if you're influenced by sattva?
Because sometimes you have to do things that seem to be in the mode of passion. Well, I'm thinking of Arjuna, right? I mean, the success of the speaking of the Gita was that he agreed to fight. So fighting there, he couldn't fight. Prabhupada says he couldn't fight if he wasn't angry. Anger is a part of the mode of ignorance. How does that work? That when these tendencies are engaged in Krishna's service, then they're purified. In other words, it's, the anger, just like, my God, if someone attacks the deities or attacks a devotee, you can become angry. You can tackle them and beat them up or something, Bhadri Narayan's can probably tell you 5 stories. I know one from the Detroit temple he describes. Some guy ran up the stairs, and they knew the guy, he was kind of inimical. And he ran into the altar, or into the temple room, and he's running at the altar. But luckily there was a guy cleaning, and some guy who was, a little strong fighter, and he tackled him and beat him up, and knocked him out. So did the guy fall? What did he engage there? It was anger. This is righteous anger. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you can employ those things which would normally be a symptom of the mode of ignorance, anger, in Krishna's service, and it's not a fall down. It can actually be or if a devotee gets attacked, that's something like that. So that's the answer. Is that and Prabhupada did so many things and spent so much time worrying, about, the Bombay, adventure. The devotees literally, the temple got attacked. They tried to destroy the deities. It was incredible. So you can imagine Prabhupada's anxiety there. But it's part of bhakti, that kind of anxiety. You see it in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and the agony of separation, and how the devotee, devotees were in such despair at Krishna's absence. But that's all part of the nectar, of separation from Krishna. Because along with all of that despair is tremendous absorption in the thought of the beloved, in Krishna. And so that's a daily thing. Krishna, even in Goloka, he's going to the forest. There's like Ashtaka. I remember reading this about the return of Krishna. How it's sung by the gopis, Mother Yashoda. Is that is that the dust cloud from the cows? Can we hear the flute yet? And all of these different things are building up, And so that kind of anxiety, that kind of pain of separation is the greatest pleasure. And you think that, that's the highest ecstasy. So it's not so easy to see, what it might look like it's in the mode of passion. But when it's, I'm thinking of setting up the first Rath Yatra in New York. I was present once in Alachua when Maheshwar, I don't know if you know him, he's in Ojai. Yeah, he wrote a book on this crazy poison theory, So he's a skilled builder also. So he was there in 76 for that first New York Rath Yatra. And some of you know this, that the night before, I think it was the Friday before the Sunday, they were building the carts outside in a plot of land that was loaned to them by Donald Trump. Anyway, Haribol, Bhakti Dan, right? Anyway, so they're building it. Of course, Jayananda's there, and thing. But there's two rivers there in Manhattan. One is the East River, one is the Hudson River, and I think it blew off the East River. Anyway, there was a huge gust of wind that blew down Balaram's cart, and the big scaffolding with the canopy on it that had been, it's very different. And the whole thing came over, and all the scaffolding was broken and everything. And Maheshwar told this whole adventure as a class in Nalacha one year. I'd never heard it before. And Jayananda said, it's finished. We only got, we have one day, and this is a disaster. We'll just have to be 2 carts in the parade. And was all kinds of devotees who had come and filled up the temple, from all over the country. And so there was a lot of, crew. He had builders and everything, but he didn't have enough crew in order to try to stop everything and repair that. So Maheshwar said, well, let me try to do it. Let me try to see what I can do, And he went to the temple and got more guys who could help him, And they found the place where they bought the scaffolding. They got on Saturday, they were able to get it, and with a lot of work, they were able to repair it. And actually, there were 3 carts. It was an incredible thing, But you can just imagine the effort that went into that, the urgency you feel, which would normally be, if you have a job to do, on a material job, it would just be a mode of passion. Let's get it done, somehow or other, But it really wasn't. It was transcendental energy that had been engaged, So it was a glorious, service. So that's the answer. Is that just like what looks like idol worship isn't idol worship. What looks like passion in the devotees, very energetic and even desperate attempts to do a certain service, is not. It's a transcendental inspiration that is pleasing to Krishna. That's all I can think of.
If you look at Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and how he engaged his disciples, and I mean the same with our Srila Prabhupada, but and you see how he's engaging everyone in preaching, and it seems like a lot of effort, and there's that example that's in his biography about how he would just find ways to keep them busy, and so they'd raise money for this, and then he'd use it for this, and then they still have to raise more money, and you keep them really busy. So then Bhadranarayan Swami quotes him as saying, "May my disciples, if I'm getting it right, may my disciples be tinged with the mode of passion." Are you familiar? I haven't found that quote anywhere. The example you see, it seems like that fits with
Yeah.
what he's doing. I can't find that quote. Have you come across that
I
quote?
don't know. I haven't encountered it.
Is that how he says it? May my disciples be tinged with the mode of passion? Have you heard that? You know. Anyway, whether that's a quote of his, I'm not sure, but it seems like that's another example.
Yeah. I mean, Prabhupada famously says, we can engage everything in Krishna's service. And he mentions in the list missiles, It's, oh boy. All right, you shoot the missiles. But you wonder how that could be. But it's in the same category of what looks like, I mean, even Krishna himself, when he gets angry with these demons, it's quite a spectacle, he's playing with them, throwing them around, But it's transcendental. It may look like the mode of passion, and maybe it's tinged with the mode of passion. But in the service of Krishna, it all becomes purified. That's the idea.
In other words, don't imitate the mode of goodness, that platform, but just engage the passion.
Yeah, mode of goodness is very peaceful, but wait a minute, the devotee was just punched in the face and you're being very peaceful? Let's drag the guy out,
Also, Prabhu, this Eka Varna, is that correct understanding? Because in the synonyms it says that this is absolute, situated in pure goodness. And here, translation says the Omkara Pranava. So is Eka Varna, does that mean that this is just referring to the holy name? Is that that?
Well, I noticed that myself in the way Prabhupada understood absolute, situated in pure goodness. I think the key is in the absolute part of it, the absolute. This can also mean one varna, one social, that it looks like it, but it's definitely not that. And I looked this up, and maybe I'll share this with you, because we have this. I don't know. Did I send this to you? I think I did. The Bhagavatam with the other commentaries on it. Vishwanath Chakrabarti. And I looked that up and how he interpreted this. Let's see. Okay. Eka means one. But Varna also means syllable. See, that's the idea. Okay, so what's the number here? 29, right? So I had it. No, this is 30. Okay. So here's Vishwanath. This verse explains the method of surrender. The Lord is the one syllable Om. That's what he says, right? He is seated on the back of Garuda, or is superior to Garuda. He is beyond Prakriti. He is not seen by everyone, and is thus invisible. This is because he cannot be determined by words, since he is the sum total of the Vedas, Ananta Param. He who is Om and seated on Garuda is worshipped by the person situated on the chariot of yoga. He's worshipped by the yogi in the mood of fighting in Viraras, with the sthai bhava of utsaha, enthusiasm, with the desire to attain the bliss of liberation. The Dhira, one who does not give up the fight, worships this Lord. We offer respects to that Lord. The verb is in the next verse. So it's not even a verb here. The verb is in the next verse. So that's his understanding. But that one syllable Om, that's Krishna says, I am Pranava, Pranavaksarva Vedeshim. So. Okay, anyone else? Vijay, got anything? Oh, hold on. Good. We only have one mic there. The other one isn't activated.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a nice class. We were talking about passion, and it just reminded me of the story how Ranganath temple was built. So it was built before 300 years before Ramanujacharya. And I was reading that it was built by a saint who became a dacoit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because people were not donating. So he used to loot people to make the Ranganath temple. So it took him few years to make it. And at the end of his life, all the people who were helping him in, looting, went against him.
So he had a whole gang.
Yeah. So they all started to ask money from him that, hey, we helped you for all over these years. So you should give us money. And he was like, oh, I have used that money to build the temple. So then he had a disciple who could walk on water. He was like a mystic. He has some mystic siddhi. So he asked his disciple to take all of them on an island. He told that, oh, I have kept all my treasure on that island. So
Treasure Island.
yeah. So
Interesting.
his disciple took them, like all the dacoits, like small dacoits, to that island. And in the midway, like he had some plans of breaking the boat. So he broke the boat, like all of them died there, and then he came walking on the.
Oh, I thought he was going to at least let him live on the island.
Yeah, this is the story mentioned in that Naimisharanya Das Prabhu's description of.
It reminds me of the thing of the thievery that, was it Ramanuja who had his disciples, because they were critical, they were being critical of the householders. You remember that? So he had some. So you wait,
yes.
and you know till they're sleeping, and you take some some of their jewelry, and then and see what happens. So I think the wife, she was sleeping, and she wasn't really sleeping. They came in, and he was reaching in to get her earrings and everything. So she just lay there, and then to give him the other earrings, she turned over. You remember that? And he got scared. Oh, she may wake up, and he ran off, right? So so Ramanuja asked what happened, and he described what happened. He said, and I guess he knew, or she told the husband what happened, because he ran off. So why did you chase him away? I didn't chase him away. I was just trying to give him the other earring. And so, in other words, it was to show the great exalted nature of real householders who are sincere devotees. And
I think the name of that disciple was Kuresha.
that was Kuresh.
Yeah, and at the end of his life, like during his last days, he in the same way Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati changed his sannyas cloth with the disciple. He changed with Ramanujacharya, and he went to the king who was against them.
No, it wasn't that they went to the king. It's that they were coming. They coming looking for Ramanuja. This is of the Mayavadis, and they wanted to arrest him or blind him, I think. And so this Kuresh said, "Well, let me dress like you, so they'll arrest me." And they did, and they blinded him. And then at the end of his life, or years later, Ramanuja said, "Now you go to the deity." I forget which deity it was. Bhardraj. And you ask him you lost something later on in service to your guru, so you ask him to return it. And he went once, but he didn't want to ask or something. Then he went back, and eventually he was given his sight back. Right? Yeah. Kuresh. I never heard that story about the island. Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, it's late. Thank you for your attention, and any attendees online besides Vijay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.